It's a sword fight between Centurions and Royals. It's St. John Paul II against CCISD Collegiate, next on Challenge.
Challenge Team bracket sponsors are Navy Army Community Credit Union,
HEB, Texas A&M University, Corpus Christi,
Citgo,
the John G. and Marie Stella Kennedy Memorial Foundation,
King Ranch Family Trust.
Additional funding is provided by Texas A&M University, Kingsville,
Del Mar College,
Corpus Christi Caller.com,
Valero.
and the Coastal Bend Community Foundation.
Support is also provided by these community-minded organizations.
Hello and welcome back to Challenge. I'm Eric Boyd. Just 2 spots remain to make up the final 6 teams that will compete for the Challenge Cup. We'll keep going until one school earns the title of Challenge Champions. This game determines the outright winner of the Kennedy Memorial Foundation bracket. Reviewing how they got here, the St. John Paul II Centurions advanced with a 435 to 60 point win over the Academy Lions, and the CCISD Collegiate Royals beat the Moody Trojans 290 to 240. First, let's meet the players for St. John Paul II High School.
Alexander Kimmel, senior.
Amy Ayala, sophomore.
Maximilian Kimmel, freshman.
Ryan Lopez, junior.
Team coach for the Centurions is Kyle Gibson. Their alternate is Shelby Zapata. Let's welcome the St. John Paul II Centurions. Now meet the players for the CCISD Collegiate Royals.
I'm Caitlin Griffin, I'm a senior.
Isabella Gutierrez, junior.
Ben Falcon, junior.
Hannah Heasley, junior.
Coach for CCISD Collegiate is Crystal Watson. Their alternates are Marina Cantu and Stanley Uzagwe. Please give it up for the CCISD Collegiate Royals. We begin with toss-up questions worth 10 points each, and remember, no conferring between players. Good luck, and here we go. What kind of fever is linked to ragweed pollen? Collegiate. Hannah.
Hay fever.
That is correct. What shortest of basic crochet stitches creates solid pattern shapes and bars in an open work pattern? St. John Paul II. Alexander.
Pearl.
Collegiate. It's called single crochet. Lafayette Park, across from the White House, is a favorite spot for demonstrations. Although it is named for the French marquis who aided in the American Revolutionary cause, the dominant statue is an equestrian rendering of what general and president? Collegiate. Benjamin?
Andrew Jackson?
Is correct. What is the only extant species of the genus Homo? St. John Paul II. Alexander.
Us. Humans. Homo sapiens.
You got it. In 1967, this World War II British general said about our involvement in Vietnam, the U.S. has broken the second rule of war. That is, don't go fighting with your land army on the mainland of Asia. Rule 1 is don't march on Moscow. Who was he? St. John Paul II. Alexander.
Montgomery?
Is correct. The American Medical Association reports that after controlled studies, there is not enough evidence to support claims about the effectiveness of treating disease with what technique involving thin needles inserted. Collegiate. Benjamin?
Scenes.
I can finish St. John Paul II. With what technique involving thin or not, Alexander?
Acupuncture.
That is correct. Now a video question from head baseball coach at Texas A&M University Corpus Christi, Scott Malone.
When Jackie Robinson became the first African American to play in Major League Baseball in the 20th century, what team did he play for? the New York Yankees, the Brooklyn Dodgers, the Philadelphia A's, or the Atlanta Braves?
Collegiate, Caitlin.
The Brooklyn Dodgers.
That is correct. What color is a fragrance by Giorgio? Collegiate, Isabella.
Aqua blue.
St. John Paul II. Amy.
Red.
That is correct. It is the process by which the jury considers the evidence introduced at the trial. Such discussion is only carried on St. John Paul II. Alexander?
Deliberation.
Yes. The Tagus River pretty much bisects what country on the Iberian Peninsula? Collegiate, Benjamin.
Portugal.
Yes. Name any one of the 4 future U.S. states that were once called the breadbasket colonies. St. John Paul II. Alexander.
Nebraska.
Collegiate. Benjamin.
Pennsylvania.
Yes, the other 3, Delaware, New Jersey, and New York. Well done. This is on a tomb in what U.S. cemetery? Here rests in honored glory an American soldier. Collegiate, Benjamin.
National Memorial.
St. John Paul II. Ryan?
Arlington Cemetery.
Yes. The main jet stream is located in what transition area between the troposphere and the stratosphere? St. John Paul II. Alexander.
The tropopause.
Yes. Paper and pencils for this next question. What is the slope of the line determined by the points 1, 7, and 3, 9? St. John Paul II. Alexander.
1.
Yes. What word is ambiguous in this example? Before we go any further, Mr. Rumbold, Miss Brahms and I would like to complain about the state of our drawers. Collegiate, Caitlin.
Drawers.
Yes. A chemotactile sensor is sensitive to both chemical stimuli and what else? Collegiate, Caitlin.
Textures.
St. John Paul II. Alexander.
Touch.
Yes. Cnidarians such as sea anemones, jellyfish, and hydras generally exhibit what kind of symmetry? St. John Paul II. Alexander.
Radial.
Is correct. Spell this astronomical term. Betelgeuse. St. John Paul II. Alexander.
Betelgeuse.
That is correct. Which 2 states' designations are the same as the nicknames for 2 relatives? St. John Paul II. Alexander.
Maine and Pennsylvania.
Collegiate. Benjamin.
Montana and Idaho.
It is Ma, or Massachusetts, and Pa, Pennsylvania. That was an interesting question. We'll try again. These books are about people of what tribe of Native Americans? Ja, an incredible Indian. The night they shot Mangus Coloradus. In the days of Victorio. Making peace with Cochise. I fought with Geronimo. St. John Paul II. Alexander.
The Apache.
Yes. Now, a video question from Associate Dean from the College of Engineering at Texas A&M University, Kingsville, Brianna Bailey.
For which of the following applications would a truss not be a good design choice? An airplane hangar roof, a construction crane, a building frame column, or a long span bridge?
St. John Paul II. Alexander?
A building frame column?
Yes. Nitrites, which are chemical compounds added to processed meats like bacon, sausage, and bologna to prevent spoilage, may react with acids in the digestive tract to form carcinogens called what? Nitrosamines is your answer. Easy for me to say. I'll give you the definition in the world of meteorology. You give me the word or words. The apparent temperature after computing heat loss due to air movement. St. John Paul II, Alexander.
Wind chill. Wind chill factor.
Is correct. Two households, both alike in dignity and fair Verona. Collegiate, Caitlin.
Romeo and Juliet.
Is correct. I will give you the popular name for a region, and you tell me where it is. The Lake District. Collegiate, Benjamin.
San Francisco.
St. John Paul II. Alexander.
New York.
Not even on the, not even on our continent. It's England, right? That buzzer means we've reached the end of round one of our game. The current score is St. John Paul II 140, CCISD Collegiate 70. Now the bonus round. When a team correctly answers a toss-up question, that team will gain control and have an opportunity to answer 3 additional bonus questions worth 5 points each. You may confer on the bonus questions, but all answers must come from the team captain. So we start with the toss-up first. What kind of precipitation is characterized by elevated levels of hydrogen ions caused by emissions of sulfur dioxide? St. John Paul II, Alexander.
Acid rain.
Is correct. St. John Paul II, your first bonus subject of the night is math. All answers from you, Alexander. What is the greatest common factor of 12 and 16?
4.
Yeah.
4.
Yes. What is the least common multiple of 12 and 16?
4, isn't it? No, 2.
4 times
48.
Is correct. What is next in this sequence? 10, 90, 70, 40.
10. Oh.
0. 2 out of 3. We go back to toss-up. Where was a popular movement for constitutional government and unification squelched when King Frederick William IV refused the crown of the proposed new nation? St. John Paul II, Alexander.
Germany.
Is correct. Okay, St. John Paul II, identify each of the following as a kingdom, phylum, class, order, family, genus, or species. Insecta.
Isn't it phylum? Phylum?
No, that's arthropoda. Class.
Yes. Crocodilia.
That's an order.
Order?
Order.
Yes. Ursus arctos.
Species?
Species.
3 for 3. Back to toss-up, this time with a video question from farmer and KEDT-FM radio show host with 4-String Farm, Justin Butts.
The 3 sisters were vegetables grown by Native American Indians. Which of the following was not one of the 3 sisters? Corn, radishes, squash, or beans?
St. John Paul II, Alexander.
Radishes.
Is correct. St. John Paul II, name the country or empire which lost the following battles in these years. Leipzig, 1813.
I have no idea.
The Holy Roman Empire.
France. Salamis, 480 BC.
Greece.
Persian.
Yes. Tsushima, 1905.
Russia.
2 out of 3. Here we go, back to toss-up. In the Great Seal of the United States, what Latin word means many? St. John Paul II, Alexander.
Pluribus.
Yes. Your bonus subject, St. John Paul II, is mummy. The most important amulet to be included in mummy wrappings was a stone image of what insect?
Oh, the scarab beetle.
Scarab beetle.
Yes. Evisceration refers to removal of this in the mummification process.
Internal organs? Is it the heart?
Internal organs.
Yes. What computer tomography system is the latest tool in investigating mummies?
CAT scanning.
Again, 3 for 3. We are back to toss-up. One of the most effective ways to remove a goodly number of cactus spines is to spread what household substance on the injured area, let it dry, and then peel it off? Collegiate. Caitlin.
School glue.
That is correct. All right, Collegiate, your bonus category, chemistry. What is the name of the hypothetical gas that would obey the gas laws perfectly under all conditions?
Xenon.
It's called ideal gas. Dilute, saturated, concentrated, and supersaturated are all examples of what in chemistry?
Solutions.
That is correct. When potassium chlorate is heated, it decomposes into potassium chloride and what gas?
Potassium chlorate.
Nitrogen.
Oxygen. 1 for 3. Here we go, back to toss-up again. While heliotropism is the growth or orientation of plant parts toward the sun, phototropism is the orientation of plant parts toward what? Collegiate?
Light.
Thank you, yes. Okay, Collegiate, I'll name 2 places and you tell me in which cardinal direction you must travel to get from one place to the other. Birmingham, Alabama to Atlanta, Georgia.
East.
East.
Yes. Dallas to Bermuda.
West?
South.
East.
East. We took south first, so east is correct. Columbus, Ohio to Columbus, Georgia.
South.
2 for 3. Here we go, back to toss-up. What 2 figures of speech are illustrated in this sentence? Suddenly she snorted shush at the sounds of a splatter, a swoosh, a splish, and a splosh. Collegiate, Caitlin?
Onomatopoeia. Words that sound like what they are.
St. John Paul II? Alexander?
Onomatopoeia and alliteration.
Both, yes. What 2? All right, St. John Paul II, which one of the Great Lakes washes the shores of Toronto?
Huron.
Ontario. Discharges into Lake Huron through the St. Mary's River and Sioux Canals.
Erie.
Superior. Has the longest shoreline.
Which one's the biggest? Superior. Go with that. Or Michigan.
Superior.
That's Huron. Okay, we're back to toss-up or not. That sound means we're at the end of round 2. The current score is St. John Paul II, 240, CCISD Collegiate, 105. Round 3 is the 60-second lightning round. Each team selects a category and may confer for the answers. Teams may pass on any question. Captains, you must answer for your teams. Currently, Collegiate, you are behind, so you may choose one of the 3 topics to answer yourselves, or you may choose the topic that St. John Paul II must answer. Here are your options. John Locke, non-computational math, poetry.
Poetry.
For yourselves?
Yes, for ourselves.
Okay, poetry it is. I will give you the first line of a poem. You name the author or poet. We'll start the timer now. By the rude bridge that arched the flood.
Pass.
Ralph Waldo Emerson. Listen, my children, and you shall hear.
Pass.
Henry W. Longfellow. It was many and many a year ago.
Robert Frost.
Edgar Allan Poe. Shall I compare thee to a summer's day?
William Shakespeare.
You got it. That's my last Duchess painted on the wall.
Pass.
Robert Browning. I hear America singing, the varied carols I hear.
Robert Frost.
Robert Frost.
Walt Whitman. 'Twas Brillig and the Slithy Toads.
Auden.
Auden.
That's Lewis Carroll. Tiger, tiger, burning bright.
William Frost.
William Blake. Oh, something there is that doesn't love a wall.
Pass.
That's Robert Frost. Hog butcher for the world.
Pass.
That's Carl Sandburg. Judge says 1. St. John Paul II, it's your turn. Here are your options. John Locke, non-computational math, baseball.
I don't know any of those.
John Locke or non-comp math. Math.
Let's go with the math.
Math. Non-comp
Okay,
math.
baseball for St. John Paul II. Non-computational math it is. We'll start the timer now. For 2 sets, A and B, which set consists of all members of either set?
The union.
Yes. Which D word is a way to calculate the difference between 2 differentials?
Differentiation.
That's derivative. What shape is the graph of a quadratic function?
Parabola.
Yes, a number that's infinitesimal is close to, but greater than what?
0.
Yes. The x-axis and the y-axis of a graph divide a plane into regions called what?
Quadrants.
Is correct. What angle is formed when you add an obtuse angle to a right angle?
An obtuse angle in the other direction.
It's a reflex angle. Any system of geometry not based on the book Elements is known as what?
Non-Euclidean.
Is correct. If two lines are perpendicular to a transversal, then they have what relationship?
Parallel.
Parallel.
They are correct. An angled coplanar to a circle. Didn't get it out. Judge says 6 out of 8. And at the end of the 60-second lightning round, our score is St. John Paul II 300, CCISD Collegiate 115. Now, we continue the game with toss-up questions. Remember, individual answers only. Here we go. What is the legal term for returning people to their country of origin, such as prisoners of wars or refugees? St. John Paul II, Maximilian.
Deportation.
Collegiate. Caitlin?
Expedition.
It's called repatriation. While aerogel and expanded polystyrene are examples of solid foams, what kind of foam is whipped cream? St. John Paul II, Alexander.
A liquid foam.
Is correct. What is the largest of the Florida Keys? St. John Paul II, Alexander.
Key West.
Collegiate. Benjamin.
St. Peter's.
It is Key Largo. Paper and pencils for this next question. Express the base -7 number 12 as a binary number. That'd be 1001. Up next, the Valero STEM video question of the week from Public Affairs Manager at Valero, Darcy Schrader.
What kind of lens has one planar surface and one inwardly curved surface?
Collegiate, Caitlin.
Pass.
St. John Paul II, Amy.
Bifocal.
It is a plano concave. You come across as anxious, confused, lightheaded person with severe abdominal pain, laboring breath, nasal congestion, and hives. Given that there were loads of killer bees swarming about, this person is probably exhibiting symptoms. St. John Paul II, Alexander?
Of anaphylactic shock.
Is correct. What ancient Mesopotamian civilization that predates Babylonia and Assyria was first to adopt these? Collegiate, Benjamin?
Sumerians.
Is correct. Name the corporation that said it would assume complete financial. Collegiate, Benjamin.
BP.
Is correct. What conflict was the first armed confrontation of the Cold War? Collegiate, Benjamin.
The Korean War.
Is correct. Tell me both what the letter C represents in physics and in Roman numerals, respectively. St. John Paul II, Alexander.
Light and 100.
Judge says no. Collegiate? Benjamin.
Light and 50.
It's the speed of light, or we would have accepted Celsius, and 100, respectively. Now a video question from 2016 Scripps South Texas Regional Spelling Champion Claire Thomas.
This word is a noun. It means an utterance or discourse by a person who is talking to himself or herself, or is oblivious or disregardful to any hearers present, often used as a device in drama. Spell soliloquy.
Collegiate, Hannah.
Okay. SOLILOQUY.
St. John Paul II. Alexander.
SOLILOQUY.
That was correct, yeah. As the crow flies, Knoxville, Tennessee is closest to which other state? Collegiate, Benjamin.
North Carolina.
Is correct. Sanford K. Cluett invented the sanforizing process that prevents clothes from doing what after washing? St. John Paul II, Alexander.
Shrinking.
Is correct. What British author wrote this? Clearly the time traveler proceeded. Any real body must have extension in 4 directions. It must have St. John Paul II. Alexander?
H.G. Wells.
Yes. What is the name for a freestanding pavilion structure often found in parks and gardens? St. John Paul II. Alexander?
Gazebo.
Yes. That buzzer means that time has expired in our game. The final score is St. John Paul II, 360, CCISD Collegiate, 155. Congratulations to the St. John Paul II Centurions. They advance and become the winners of the Kennedy Memorial Foundation bracket. Yeah. Next week, we move to the King Ranch Family Trust bracket for a match between the defending champion Ray Texans and the London Pirates. For Challenge, I'm Eric Boyd. Thank you for watching. Good night.
This has been a production of KEDT, your community-owned station.
Challenge Team bracket sponsors are Navy Army Community Credit Union,
HEB,
Texas A&M University, Corpus Christi,
Citgo,
the John G. and Marie Stella Kennedy Memorial Foundation,
King Ranch Family Trust.
Additional funding is provided by Texas A&M University, Kingsville,
Del Mar College,
Corpus Christi Caller-Times,
Valero.
and the Coastal Bend Community Foundation.
Support is also provided by these community-minded organizations.